Hi, everybody, and welcome to Evolve Love. I am your host, Amanda, and I am so happy that you have found this podcast. Are you looking for daily inspiration, motivation, and wisdom to help you begin your day feeling supported and uplifted with love? Well, you have come to the right place. This podcast is a space of encouragement where you can be held in your self-development because in order to evolve, you need love, and it begins here with you. Now, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new week here with Evolve Love. This is a big week in so many ways. And I just want to start off by expressing so much gratitude to you all for being here, for supporting the podcast, for just giving your energy to the space as well. Because just as I am giving you the energy and creating these episodes, you by listening are also extending that energy back to me. And I am so truly grateful. This week, we are going to hit our 100th episode of Evolve Love, which is so wild to me because it doesn't seem that long ago that I just had the complete thought of what this podcast was going to be. I bounced it off a couple of friends, asked for feedback, and then here it was. Here was Evolve Love. And as that went on, I am now in a place where I am launching something even bigger with Evolve Love. And to me, the timeline has been pretty rapid. It has come together pretty quickly, but it's things that I haven't been able to just set aside and say one day. These are things that feel very much like I need to do this now. And this weekend, if you are a subscriber to the newsletter, you would have received the Virgo newsletter. And if you haven't yet, please send me a DM at _evolve love on my Instagram so that I can make sure that you get that. And if you haven't subscribed to the newsletters yet, I highly recommend it. They're completely free. There are a ton of supportive tools and resources, a free meditation to hold you in the zodiac season that we are in. This is all about Virgo. I share books that I enjoy, music recommendations, my bucket list for the season. I share it all. And I do that in the hopes that as it supports me, that it will also support you. But if you got that newsletter, you will notice that I am opening up all of my Evolve Love offerings this month completely for free. And I explain why in the newsletter. And it's really important to me that I took this month as an act of service, being the Virgo energy of service, of healing. Those archetypes to me are so important. And I wanted to tap into it not only as a celebration of the 100th episode, but just also as a means of extending out all that I want to offer so that you can all get a taste of it. And then we'll move on from there in future seasons with more information to come. So everything was explained in the newsletter, but this Wednesday, I'm holding my first Evolve Love Space class on Zoom. Yeah, it's going to be on Zoom. And this is going to be on Wednesday. And so if you're interested, the link to sign up for the class is in the bio of my Instagram at _evolve love. And with this class, if you can't attend live, not to worry because all of you will get the replay. So it's completely free. This is going to be my body, mind, soul class as a 100th episode celebration. And for more details on what that means, like what is a body, mind, soul class, I'm going to have a whole real explanation on my Instagram. So make sure you check that out. All right, I need to stop talking about all this. Let's get into the theme for the week. I am so excited for this because right now I feel is back to school energy. I have felt it in my bones leading up to this point. It is so crazy to me how it happens every year. There is a shift, not only in the seasons here and like the feeling, like the nights get cooler, but there's this feeling like I know that a new chapter is beginning, a new school year. And I haven't been in school for a really long time, but like that's the way that it feels. Now, I also mentioned this is a big week. At the end of this week, we have the full moon Pisces lunar eclipse happening. It's a partial lunar eclipse, but you are probably feeling this energy because this all too is in this cycle and in this season of eclipse season. So starting, we had the Leo solar eclipse in the beginning of August or mid-August, and now we are leading into this partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. So I wanted to talk on these concepts today because when I was thinking about what are we going to talk about, I knew I wanted to talk about back to school as an energy. I knew I wanted to hold and support the energy of the lunar eclipse, but today's moon sign is Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. It's also, to me, a very business-oriented sign. So when I think about all of this, the structure, the organization that is involved with Virgo for back to school is also very much seen with Capricorn as an earth sign. So I wanted to take this week to look at earth elements alongside water elements because we're closing out the week with this Pisces influence. So one way that is so helpful is to think about with the earth, right? We think about the ground, and with water, we think about flow. So this week is all going to be about how can we ground to hold us in the emotional waters of a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. And this can go at any time. It doesn't have to just be a big eclipse experience or anything like that. How can you connect to the earth when the emotional waters are stirring? You could take this in so many different ways. This could mean for you, maybe you are, in a spiral of emotion that is difficult or hard to navigate. How can you ground in that space? Maybe it's others around you who are going through emotional turmoil, and how can you be the rock for them? So in all of this, certain images really came up in my mind that I wanted to share. But I think too, it's really important as we're going into this concept is to reflect on the who are you question that we asked in the Leo solar eclipse. And the reason why is now we are visiting this, right? I asked you, who are you for Leo solar eclipse? And how do you want to shine? How do you want to be seen? How do you want to shine for the benefit of others as well? And when we think about this question now needs to be posed in the sense of who are you? Standing firm in your foundation when things get difficult. Who are you when the water is swirling around and you need to hold your ground? Okay, so with that, we have to think about, what is our energy? When things are not going right, how can we find hold? How can we grab hold of something? Or do we let go and go with the flow? There's so many different ways that we can handle this. Can we ride the waves of the emotion? Or are we going to also, as we ride the waves, remind ourselves of the values and the pillars that we so deeply attach to for ourselves? So important to think about that because there might be elements of you that don't align right now. And these are things that you do not want to take with you into this full moon on Friday. This, especially being the eclipse season, if there are things that you need to leave behind, this is the time to do it. They are not coming with you beyond this full moon on Friday. And partially it's because you are growing too through this experience. You're evolving, as we talk here on Evolve Love. You are evolving constantly into the person that you are going to be on any given day. But there are things that don't help you. There are things that weigh you down. There are things that just don't have a place in your heart and soul anymore. And these are the things that we are leaving. And partially when I was thinking about this energy of the ground and the earth and the waters and all of this, I remembered a quote from the Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo, which I love. I've shared about it before. I read a passage of it in one of my Facebook Lives over in the Evolve space. If you have not been to the Evolve Love space on Facebook and you want to join, please make sure to do so, because I add so much there that is in support of the podcast and of the Evolve Love space itself that we'll be developing. But this book, The Book of Awakening, is a daily reader by Mark Nepo, and there was a quote in it. I actually have it in my notes for choreography because it really inspired me, but I thought, this is exactly what I'm picturing here. And this is the quote: "Love, like water, comes softly through the hardest places." I'm going to say that again. Love, like water, comes softly through the hardest places. And when I read this quote, I had a specific image in my mind of a boulder in the middle of a rushing river. And I want this boulder to be symbolic of you. And I want you to think about these analogies here, or these questions, these like imagery questions, and how it pertains to you. As the boulder in the river, what water will flow by and around you? What water will shape and form you? So not only is this water flowing by you, but it's creating a change in your shape. And what water will crack you open? So when you think about the boulders and these mighty rivers, rushing and roaring, there's that water pressure that's going to eventually crack parts of these boulders. It's going to erode. It's not just going to change shape. Sometimes parts of the boulder completely wash away. And how does this pertain to you in this season? What do you want your boulder to do? What do you want to be like? Do you want to be allowing it to just flow around you? Are you allowing it to shape you, or are you going to allow it to break you? And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad thing either, because even if it did split apart, the boulder is still there. There are still the remnants of the boulder. It's just a completely different form than it was before. So really thinking about this for yourself. This is like a really imagery type of question, right? But picture your boulder. What's happening with it? And in this week, I want you to focus on thinking about that. In any difficult situation that comes your way, in any positive situation that comes your way, think about the boulder. Be the boulder. Practice being the boulder in the rushing, raging river. And sometimes too, for me, really just taking the time to be in the silence when we're getting into that emotional overwhelm. This is something that I'm practicing. This is something that I'm working on. But for some reason in this week, like water sounds feel really important. So if you're somebody who likes to listen to frequency, maybe see if there's any like babbling brook or like river sounds or like things like that. Like maybe there's a playlist out there that holds that energy. But for some reason, I really feel like as we stand strong and as we create our foundation with this Capricorn moon today, thinking of the waters that surround us and who are we going to be in those waters. So I hope that you all have a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to continuing through this week with you. I'm looking forward to maybe seeing you in class on Wednesday or in the replay. If you have any questions about the class too, like I said, check out my reel on Instagram at _evolve love. And also, I can answer anything in DM. So please make sure you reach out. But I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you being here. And I look forward to this week with you, and I will check in with you tomorrow.